There's one place in Poland that came up in our comment section over and over and over again, and that is exactly where we are today. We are in the charming city of Malbork, which we are going to explore today and show you a little bit around. And they have the largest castle in the world. Can you believe it? We are going to see that today and obviously take you on the journey with us. But before we start the video, make sure that you hit that juicy red subscribe button if you want to support us. Let's do this.
And this is genuinely our very first day exploring around Malbork. This is actually also our very first day that we have had any form of sunshine. We arrived here actually 2 nights ago and we've had nothing but summer storms and rain, and we've been pretty much locked up inside our hotel. We're staying at the Didal Hotel, which is a really interesting Soviet looking hotel. The rooms are pretty cool, it's nice and spacious, and it's a reasonable price for us. We try and stick to the budget of somewhere between 20 and 30 euro a night, and this place hit that target perfectly for us. And this Malbork Castle, the biggest castle in the world, can you freaking believe it? We're going to be going and checking that castle out today. It's been on our list ever since we first arrived in Poland, and we are both so freaking excited. Let's go.
Now we are equipped, we have our tickets. If you just want to do the audio guide tour, it is 70 zloty per person. This is gonna look fantastic for the rest of the day. I think I look like Sideshow Bob, but we're going to manage. Let's do this.
Fashion, guys. High-end fashion right here. Malbork Castle is actually the 35th UNESCO World Heritage site that we have visited since we started traveling. How cool is that? Ticking off number 35 right now with the biggest castle in the world. So right here is where the tour starts off, or kicks off, here at Malbork Castle. And this tower here just behind me is apparently the oldest and most historical part of the castle, and apparently the most important historically as well. Apparently it was destroyed around World War II and then rebuilt. But let's continue on this amazing tour. Right here just behind me is an 8-meter tall Virgin Mary. How cool is that? People used to come here and visit this even in the Middle Ages just because they wanted to see this particular emblem or statue, and some people even feared the town of Malbork because it was a symbol that this town was protected by the Virgin Mary.
Just standing here in front of the castle right now makes us really feel like we are in medieval times. If it wasn't for our audio guides and obviously the camera, so like modern technology, you could really kind of feel like you are in the 1400s, maybe the 1500s or something like that. It's absolutely amazing. Under this wooden bridge, it's so windy, so like, look at this.
Looking at the fortress walls here from this shielded little bridge here, it's really interesting because you do have some dark colored bricks, and apparently that was because some of those bricks actually got burnt during the process of building, and they still put them in anyways and made a nice formation or pattern, and it actually looks really cool.
The entry gate itself of the castle is constructed with 3 different gates which you could close in case of an attack. So for example, if a foreign army or whatever would march into here, they would be able to close the 2 gates behind them and the first gate as well, so that all of the soldiers or the army would be captured in this first room, and they would be able to shoot from the top levels basically with bow and arrow, or later then with weapons such as, I don't know.
Arrows? I don't know.
No, the guy said first they shot with arrows and then with the fire, with guns.
Rifles.
Rifles, that's the word. English is very difficult today, I'm sorry.
Now the floor here just below me, you might notice that it's kind of separated into two sort of tracks, and that is for horses, carriages that were bringing goods and things like that, weaponry, etc., into the castle.
Just imagining being trapped between those two gates and then random Teutonic knights shooting at you is like the worst thought ever. Like just standing here and thinking, okay, some people might have went through this, or I'm pretty sure people went through this exact situation. It's just such a crazy thought.
Once you come through those gates that we were just at, you come to this amazing courtyard, and you are greeted with the east and west wings of the castle itself. I believe they said the east wing is where people would stay, guests would come and stay. Nowadays it would be referred to as a hotel. And then over here on the west wing, what was it for on the west wing?
I didn't pay attention. So the west wing was used for parties, basically. The west wing here, directly behind me, was used to host all of the people, all of the guests that might come into the castle and have a big meal all together and basically celebrate whatever might occur that day.
We are now inside an old bathroom that is now being used as an exhibit of the work of Maciej Kilarski, and the exhibit basically shows many of the different ruins and different states that Dansk was in during the destruction of the city and then it being rebuilt. Incredibly interesting to see, and the work from Maciej Kilarski is simply amazing.
Luke and I both are on the look for the modern version of this room. We need the toilet.
Babe, I think I see a toilet over there.
Oh my god, finally! Ding!
Feeling better?
A lot better.
Very narrow, old staircase. Wow, this castle is simply amazing.
Just the fire pit of this castle is larger than Luke's and my first apartment in Dublin. So you can imagine how many people would be fed in the feasts that were hosted here in the castle. To be honest, I could move into the fire pit right now.
Wow, I can only imagine what sort of banquets and different sorts of dinners have taken place in this incredible room. It's so massive, and the acoustics in here are crazy as well. Another interesting fact about this Malbork Castle is that it was never in fact captured, it was sold. So that shows you the pure power of the Teutonic Order. Even up until this day, the Teutonic Order is still in existence. We read about it on Wikipedia there just last night and we were like, what? It's still a thing. They're still together. They're still, I know it sounds like I'm talking like a music band or something like that, but the Teutonic Order is still in existence to this day, and that's pretty crazy.
Everywhere in this castle where you see these smaller openings in the floor, they were all heating. So this castle actually kind of had a medieval radiator, if you want. But yeah, like this is the bedroom of the headmaster, for example, and this room was heated the same way as the large room that we've been in before was heated, and I cannot believe that. I've never heard of medieval heating systems.
It's really interesting. This entire room is supported by this one single column. How crazy is that? And this room is massive. The sheer amount of information that you get during the audio guide throughout this tour of Malbork Castle is just insane. It's actually almost overwhelming because you're just going in room to room to room, getting blasted with this information, and you're just like, okay, you're trying to process what you just listened to, and then it's bang, straight on to the next one. The size of this castle is just unreal. We heard and read it is the biggest castle in the world, but you do not truly understand the sheer size of this place until you're standing here on the castle. Wow.
You're not prepared for the size at all. There's so much information that we're getting that sometimes I just hear like ocean sounds or something like that in between. Not to be disrespectful, it's an amazing exhibition, but it is a lot to take in.
We've been greeted by yet another long, narrow staircase. This is obviously a common theme here in Malbork Castle, so come prepared with your comfy shoes if you're going to be walking throughout here. We've been here now for roughly 2.5 hours already, and I don't think that we're even halfway through. So we are roughly halfway through this tour now, and it's been over 3 hours. We just had a look at some of the amazing medieval weapons and some of the modern day weapons as well, and it's really sad to look back on human history and to see just how violent all of our history was leading up until this very day, and it still is to this very day. So that is a very sad look back into human history, but it's also really interesting because it shows you how weapons have evolved over the ages and how certain weapons have evolved to defend amazing castles such as this one.
Gave some serious Lord of the Ring vibes there.
Yeah. It was really cool. Some of the swords looked like legitimately like Aragon from Lord of the Rings. Really interesting. But yeah,
the swords looked like Aragon.
Looked like Aragon, yeah. They look like Aragon's sword. Weapon. But yeah, halfway through we probably have around another 2 or 3 hours of exploring this castle. Luckily we have the weather on our side today.
Maybe we should walk a little bit faster. I think we're spending too much time in each room.
We're getting so hungry as well. In some really grand hallways that look down over this magnificent sort of courtroom space. What would you call it? Courtyard?
Yeah, it's the monastery part of the castle basically, and they have a huge courtyard in the middle with a beautiful pelican statue.
Right now we're in front of the Golden Gate as it goes by, and it actually survived from the Middle Ages, and it's one of the only parts of this castle that survived from the Middle Ages. How cool is this?
Very interesting about one of the churches here in the monastery part of the castle is that everything that you see here that is still red brick is the original church. And if you look at the ceiling, the entire vaulting and basically the front, so the entire left side of the church, it is white. Everything that is red brick is the old part of the church, and everything that is white has been destroyed during World War II. So now everything that is white is basically what has been added after World War II in order to put it back in place.
So we just had a little look at where the Grand Masters of the Teutonic Order were buried. Wow, it's very eerie feeling inside that room for sure. This courtyard is actually in the high part of the castle, which is supposedly the oldest part of the castle, and you can see that just by how old and cool the vibe is and the rooms are that we walked through just there. It's crazy.
It's very interesting to see as well that some parts of this high castle have been destroyed in World War II, and quite a bit has been on fire as well. So whenever you look around, you see some stones, some red brick stones that are darker and some that are brighter, and you can really see where exactly fire happened in that time.
More than 700 years of history are concealed inside the walls of this incredible castle.
And it's really crazy to think that the Teutonic Order up to this day still exists with their headquarters in Vienna. But right now, like at the moment, as far as we understood, they're there for more kind of charity type of work, whereas beforehand it was more of a religious type of work. So now they kind of look after people that suffer from addictions, maybe homeless people and such. So that would be really interesting to see, actually, to go from here to Vienna and see the work that they do nowadays. I think that would be very incredible to see. We're done! We're done!
Wow, we just finished the very extensive and in-depth tour of Malbork Castle.
It took us legitimately 5 hours, but just because we were actually interested in every single detail.
Yep.
And let me tell you something, I have no idea how to put all of this information in a digestible format.
Yeah, it's pretty
No
nuts. I think it was almost like 5.5 hours straight of just walking around and consuming that information. And obviously we're trying to film to get across this well for you guys, so hopefully we do our job and we put it across well for you in this video. It's now 5 p.m. neither of us have had anything to eat today, so we're going to go into the center of Malbork, obviously return these audio guides first and get some traditional Polish food.
Looking forward to traditional Polish food. Recycling is important. Headphones to the right, objects to the left. We just walked out of the castle and found this cool wooden bridge here, and from here you can actually see how big the castle is. It's so big that you cannot capture it with your camera in one go. I think you would need to have the panorama setting on your phone in order to actually capture the beauty and size of this castle. By the way, the river that we are looking on right now is the river called Nogat in English. I'm not too sure how to pronounce it properly in Polish. Yeah, I think this is the first time we have been at this river. So far we have been obviously at the Wisla River and the river in Bielsko-Biała, and I think this is our third river, right?
Third river, yeah. Really interesting. It's beautiful, the setting, the banks of the Malbork Castle, can't beat it. Wow guys, that was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience and something that we will never forget. But now it's time for a traditional meal of... I'm not too sure how you actually pronounce it, but it seems very traditionally Polish.
I would say maybe Med's Donald's or something.
Donald's?
Seems very exotic.
Yeah, but now all jokes aside guys, we've literally ate our body weight in pierogi, etc. So we're going to treat ourselves. The day is in it. We have been walking non-stop now for roughly around 5.5 hours. So, my name is Luke.
My name is Naomi.
We are the Two Mad Explorers.
And this is your reminder to keep exploring.
See you guys in the next video.
Thanks for watching.
Ciao.